check one more time, one more time.
1, 2, 1.
Can you sit on my chair for a second? Yeah, good, good. We are both in a frame. That's the thing. I will just cut it. Cool. So let's start. So we are here with Petty One, and he is a member of an underground graffiti community in Europe. So tell me, Petty One, how did you start graffiti?
I started graffiti when I was pretty young, man. I think my first visualization in graffiti was when I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old, and I came to my school, and there was just a big graffiti in the middle of the playground. And I wondered to myself, like, how did they do this? Is this legal? Did the school pay for this, you know? And I remember just looking at it, and I remember that nobody else in the class was looking at it, it was just me. And I said, hard funk. And that's my first experience. And then I started seeing it in the street and looking at it, and I started copying it, you do your little mathematics in your school books, and you try to make square letters, and you're writing it's kind of your first graffiti. And one of my friends then actually just turned up, and he was painting graffiti, and he knew about the whole entire culture of hip hop. So he was the one that got me into it, got me into baggy clothing, got me into the rap scene, and it started developing. His name was Fafi, and that's when we started forming a crew, started painting. He helped me get my name, Paddy One. And that was history from since 1999, and we just kept it on rolling, and learning by ourselves, because at that time there was no internet, there was no books or in the library about it. It was just one of those things that you could just learn by doing it and finding other people that did it. And we were blessed in my town to have a big squat house in the center with like graffiti all around it, banners about anarchism, veganism, all of these progressive ideas at the time that nobody else was even thinking about. And they were the masters. They were the masters that brought the culture and learned about all the culture. Josele, Zona Norte Bossi, Hard Funk, El Piccolo, MC Lee. All of these guys were there, and they were just pioneers before their time. And they're still going, and we're still going. So it's been a long journey, and the best way you can learn really is by doing graffiti and hanging around with people that are gonna just by hanging around, you're just gonna learn.
And that started in Spain, correct?
Yes, Alicante, Spain.
Alicante, Spain. And you were that age in 99. How old were you that time?
I was 13, 14, kind of flipping through 13, 14. Very young age, I guess. It's usually the age. And at that time, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just going down, robbing some cans from the shop. And in middle of the daytime, 3 o'clock in the evening, just go there and paint without knowing what we were doing. And eventually that's how you get chased, how you run, and you start learning what to do, what not to do, Yeah.
And after this, you went from Spain, you went to Ireland, correct?
Years and years later, I stayed there maybe till about 2001, where the whole crew was experiencing growth. Like, it was just the thing, at that time. Hip hop was massive at that time. So everybody was just getting into it, and we expanded and expanded and expanded. And by 2001, I decided to come to Ireland. My family was splitting and all that stuff. So I just came here, and I kept on going.
Yeah. And You did some graffiti here in Ireland. When was your first graffiti in Ireland? In what year?
Probably within the first few years that I arrived, I was already painting, tagging, trying to do little things, but there wasn't much culture in Ireland at that time to do with it. And if anything, it was only in the capital in Dublin. And it took another few years, I think, till about 2005, 6, around ish, that time. Dublin opened the shop with the spray cans, the proper graffiti ones that we all know. And I rocked up there and I came back with like a whole backpack, like 200 cans or some crazy thing like this.
200 cans.
Well, at least like 80 cans, and then anything that I could carry. I had a big army bag, surplus, like proper army, Irish army.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like the tube bags, so you could fill their 80 cans I've carried. And I just used to fill it every time and bring it down and paint wherever I could that was quiet at that time. It was kind of like a quiet area until I started discovering the scene in Dublin, meeting all the people up there and then expanding. But yeah, that must have been more like 2018 by the time I got that going. For all those in-between years, I was on my own, painting and focusing on other things.
And you did some graffiti in Dublin?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Plenty.
Okay.
Plenty.
Then you came to Kerry, right? And you did some graffiti here, which you show me some of your video that we're gonna show you. And after you get to Kerry, you have some members of your crew. You wanna name your crew? What's the name of the crew?
LRS, Last Radical Souls. As the Last Radical Souls, we started in 2001, and because we, from the beginning, was already like just kids, but we were just immigrant kids, and we had Chilenos, Swedish, Romanian. We had everything in the crew, like Germans, French. The whole crew was just such a multicultural. We used to call ourselves Chicos de la Calle Inmigrantes Ilegales, which is the kids from the street, illegal immigrants. And that's because that's what it was at that time. And as that expanded and we all traveled, this slowly became expanding into other cities and countries. So that we went from Alicante, Barcelona, Madrid, Paris, Ireland, London, and we just started going like that, Germany. And now it's about 250 members worldwide, from India, USA, Brazil. I don't even know half these people sometimes. It's expanding by crew members being friends of friends. It's an organic thing, but I think the social media of today definitely helps us a lot more stay in communication with each other in a sense. And as we go, we try to meet along the way, So it might be years before I meet everybody in my own crew, but...
Before we get any farther, you wanna give us like a little history about graffiti, where that all started, like from beginning?
Yeah. So from my perspective, the original beginning of graffiti is the cave art from the Stone Age. In the cave art, what they did is they used to find a place and it was always a wall, and you grabbed blood into your mouth from an animal. And what they used to do is they put their hands on the walls and spray the blood, creating a stencil. And that means that the first original form of painting in humanity is spray, which is funny how it became hated later on, as an art form, because it's probably the least respected when it comes to art forms. But saying that, you bring it from the Stone Age, you keep on going. Graffiti is etching your name again into things. So it's in the pyramids, it's in the Roman history, it's in the Greek history, and it starts developing. But when you had the Romans and they had the art al fresco, which is in the open air. Everybody could see it. It was attainable to see. You could see the master's work. You go into a building, maybe the whole wall, and so on and so forth. And then the rich and the hierarchies started putting it on canvas so they could control it and sell it and buy it. And that money basically just, it was easier to paint on canvas. And it just, the history turned it into a gallery. And it took away from the al fresco. Al fresco is the street, it's the walls. And graffiti is the only thing that I think is bringing the Renaissance back through history to say, no, we're going to put our art in the street. You know, and the one thing about painting on a canvas, and you can say, look at this guy, he sold a painting for 250 million, but he was inside his house with a heater on, he had electricity, and he was sitting there for 15 weeks painting this thing. As a graffiti writer, you don't have that pleasure. You have to go and do it in a rough area, in the night, you can't even see. You don't have all the colors, you don't have all the time. You just have to get it done, you know? And for me, the renaissance of how it is to bring it back on the streets, bring that vibrancy. And now you can see the artists from college, from the canvas, from the masters, coming back to the walls, you know, and getting so much funding and everything. But they never said thank you to the guys that kept this alive since the 70s. And I think that, you know, it should be a little bit more together. If you want to know the history of graffiti, then from the 70s, you had original guys like Cornbread from Philadelphia, and he used to just write his name, and for some reason that went on, and it went on to New York, and you had Tacky, and Tacky started painting all this stuff. But what he changed is he was tagging walls, but he started tagging trains. And what happened with the trains is the train would travel from one side of New York in the city to the other side of the New York and city. So your name now was not only here, but it was over here. So all these people started looking at it from here. And they started painting trains that were going that way. And the whole idea is that you became all city. Just like a billboard, like a banner, your name now would be everywhere. And you felt like Superman, especially in those times when the kids in the Bronx in New York in the 70s had nothing. They barely had food, they barely had parents to hang around with. So anything that made them feel alive and empowered. And that's one of the things that graffiti does. It makes you feel alive, it makes you feel empowered, and and it's addictive.
Some people may call graffiti vandalism, and some people may call it the art. Yeah, like for example, when you go and you spray something, some wall that's belong to the council or whatever, legally it's a vandalism. And
Correct.
If you will spray some train, yeah, this is a vandalism because they will not charge you only for spraying and cleaning the train. They charge you for the
Criminal
records, and they charge you for probably the stuff, because the train have to stop, so it doesn't make any money. So there is a lost profit.
Yes, they stopped the trains in Ireland. There's other cities and other places where the trains still roll painted. But there's certain conditions to all of this. So what I learned in Ireland, they do stop the trains, but they will let them roll, and it depends. If your painting is smaller than the window with the view. So in Spain, if you paint the windows, most likely the next day, if they can, they will roll the first morning. They will everybody goes to work, whatever. But there was one point where they will clean the windows. So your graffiti is still there on the train, but the windows there's a frame that's cleaned out.
Okay.
So one of the things, if you want your train to roll, don't paint the windows. Don't paint the driver's window or the passenger's windows. And the train has much more chances of going rolling, especially in Ireland, But every country is slightly different when it comes to that. And it's a big deal. It's a big criminal, I guess, The thing about graffiti is, man, it's to make something. Yes, vandalism is one of the principal parts of it, and it's sad because maybe when you get to a position like me, who's been doing it since '99, it's 2025 now. Make that out, I think it's like over 25 years painting graffiti. Maybe I don't feel like going out being doing vandalism anymore. I do it to keep my name up, but I do it in selective places where it's going to be seen, but it's not going to damage private property or hurt anybody in particular. I want it to be seen. I do partake on the, illegal side of it, but I'm also much in love with the creative and legal side of it. Because I think that at the end of the day, it's a battle not only outside of graffiti to say, oh, it's vandalism. Within inside graffiti, it's a battle. Because as a graffiti writer, if you don't do vandalism, you're not respected in the community.
Okay.
It's like doing MMA, but not actually fighting in real spar. You need to spar, man. You can't just start it, whoa! You need to touch each other. So graffiti is the same. It only respects in the vandalism. And if you get really good at murals, but you had that foundation, you will be respected. But there's a lot of guys that maybe start just doing murals very early. They are possibly even amazing painters. But for some reason, the graffiti community doesn't like that. And for me, I'm in the between because I think I'm I'm creative, but also what's the point in making everybody all the time angry? When you realize that your passion can make others angry, you maybe find a way of, limiting that. Say in small towns like this in Ireland, I don't paint in the biggest, most seen spaces because I know nobody's going to appreciate that graffiti most of the time. But when I go to cities get graffitis, Why? Because it's invaded by advertising. Who cares? You don't like my one? Complain to all the rest. Complain about all of these other adverts. Every time there's a new movie, half-naked ladies on the pictures on the front, half this and that, they can put that up. Why can't I put my name up or my design? So that's how I look at those things. But also I think that we evolve as a humanity, and like one of the things I love doing is teaching the youth. And I've taught many courses throughout the years of young new generations that want to learn some spray painting, some graffiti.
Like in illegal terms, or you just do it like on the street, or?
No, this is an illegal term. Oh, obviously I'm always in the street, but like these are courses, legal
courses.
Yeah, where I teach teens or young kids how to just paint and do art in general. And it's interesting, but what they do after is their way. But in the course we're teaching this, and what I'm doing is I can see that some kids will rather draw a portrait of a human. I'm not going to say stop that if they're good. I want you to be the best of whatever it is that you're going to paint on the paper. So therefore, if you are very good at backgrounds or abstract, I think that's the progression, and not say stick to this only. Like you need to start from where I started. I think that we've gone far beyond that now to stay there looking at these little things. So from a perspective of vandalism and non-vandalism, graffiti's on both sides. But what people need to know to keep it alive is that vandalism and illegal painting more than vandalism is the core part. Like I said, if you're not sparring, you're never going to be a good fighter. You can know all the martial arts, but it's about knowing how to get punched in the face and keep walking forward. And the same with graffiti. If you don't go out there, most of the people in areas, they expect an artist to be Picasso or Rembrandt or somebody amazing from the beginning. If you don't do 400 pieces of shit, sorry to say it like that, you will never be good.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah, so we need practice walls. We need areas where people are going and practicing, and vandalism is some part of the practice because you know, we don't want to be known. So it's not like I'm going up there going like, oh, this is me, I want to be known, and give me a wall.
Yeah.
Just take it.
What was the biggest wall or biggest wall you ever done? And we had a pre-talk. You talk how you organize everything with people from all around the Europe to have like some sort of like a graffiti artist holiday or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And you met in Barcelona. You want to describe us the process about the big wall you just painted?
Yeah, I think it was about not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. So, yeah, 2023, Christmas 24. And we organized a crew of about 15 people doing different things. So we had camera crew, drone pilot, you know, we had drivers, we had people in charge of getting paint and resources. We even had a sponsor coming in with some paint and some clothing as well that we had. And we just timed it that everybody's gonna be free at this time. And people from Valencia, Murcia, Barcelona, Madrid, all over Spain, UK and Ireland all came together to paint this piece. And we painted 230 liters worth of paint.
230 liters.
Liters of paint. The piece was about 4 stories high and about 8 stories wide. It was probably the biggest graffiti in the whole area as far as I know. And right by the airport, so you could actually, when the planes are leaving and going landing, you can see that piece from the plane. Which is fucking sick, like. It's crazy.
I want you to describe the process of that graffiti. How did it work? How did that day look like?
Yeah, in this one, well, the process was we came with bucket paint, yeah? We call it mulch. So roller paint.
How do you call it?
Mulch.
Mulch, okay.
Yeah, mulch bucket paint. And you have your roller sticks, your rollers. Everybody had their big rollers. You need proper rollers and all this stuff. Everybody that's going to be painting has their own roller and this stuff. And we flip so you don't have to get all tired. But we had the designer coming with the design, making sure it's going to fit in there and everything's perfect. And we had a measuring guy. So he was going around with the poles, measuring the spaces, because this is such an enormous piece, you know, when you're looking at it. And it's pitch black. And it gets slippery and lots of things. And it's just the middle of the night, like, you know. So these guys are putting markers and we're just basically marking the frame and then we start filling. And we started filling crazy, but then we started trying to fill top to bottom. Man, this was crazy. We were like slipping down, buckets rolling down. We were going down the whole thing because as soon as it's painted now and you have to walk on this was like maybe at this angle, you know, like a steep, very steep angle, like a skate park, but it was an aqueduct, a giant aqueduct, you know, and you can see that from the other side of the main road. So one of the biggest roads of Spain, like highways.
Yeah.
This is dinner every day, you know?
Yeah. So people like travel like there and back, you know?
Yeah.
So your graffiti will be seen. And
millions of people daily,
people.
and the airport and everything. That's why we go, well, you know, that big and that much intensity on such a mission there.
And you have for example, a watchers.
Yeah, it depends on the mission.
What are they doing, the watchers? Like when, for example, we had a pre-talk, and you want to describe the role of a watcher, like in the group?
Just. You mean like somebody's watching out for police or something happening? In certain missions where there could be dangers or dodges, we sometimes bring watchers if we have somebody available. And usually it's just to make a call out or make sure that we have enough time to either hide or, you know, keep on walking or look like you're blending in. Because It depends on where you are. Some roads, you know, you're on a main road or whatever, there is nowhere to go except straight. So if somebody's coming, there's nowhere else to go. So you just start walking like nothing is happening. And most of the time, people ain't gonna look at that wall and say, oh look, there's a half graffiti there and there's somebody walking that way. You know, they won't put that together most of the time, unless they know the area very well. But yeah, watchers, man, is something many crews do. You know, like maybe One Up in Germany is, if you want to research them, for me, it's like the best crew in the world right now.
What was the name?
One Up.
One Up.
Like a video game, you know, One Up. They're amazing, Berlin kids as well in Germany. I think Germany and Europe took over graffiti from the United States a long time ago, really, you know. And we pioneered a lot of stuff after them. And I think they're now inspired by us, and it's resurrecting over there. It's a funny,
see.
it went like this, and now it's going back that way. So they, in New York, they didn't have trains painted for like 20 years. Very few. And now it's the Europeans are going over there, man, on a holiday and just doing it up. And so therefore it's inspiring more people to get in the game. I think COVID did it. I think there's a lot of reasons. But like, yeah, I think for some of the most organized people that I've ever met, it must be One Up, MSK. You know, Rams right now is the writer, and you should see what he does, man. It's just like mind-blowing. You know? But apart from that, I think LRS crew, man, is really one of the crews that I see, you know, making moves, inspiring people, and, you know, online and offline, because that's the whole thing, you know. And you look at many crews, they have the same style or the same level of age, the same level of quality. It's like they all came up the same area at the same time. With the Last Radical Souls, man, what we do is we're taking in guys that just started. And usually the guys that just started are the most passionate to go out there and just, you know, go bombing.
Yeah.
So they're painting, but their painting quality is bad. So people go, oh, you know, this and that. But we don't care if LRS looks like fucking the best thing you've ever seen or not the best thing you've ever seen. It says LRS and you've seen it, man. That's what we care about, you know?
I see.
Yeah, because like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have guys, 40-year-old, you have guys that you'd never think, you know, suit and tie, work, make more money than fucking you and I, and they are passionate about graffiti.
It's kind of like reminds me like a Fight Club, like kind of like an underground thing.
Yes.
Like you never know, like it's just like things we do all after the dark or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
It actually
So
is.
really, people suit and
good
ties and they do graffiti like.
Yes, suit and ties and do graffiti. And it is like, I know guys who are fucking 5-star chefs making graffiti, man. And did you know what? They started with graffiti and they became chefs, yeah? And now they even do graffiti with the food. Yeah, because why not? And they've realized that whatever it is can change to different things that you do in life, you know? And I don't know, man, you know, saying if you want to look at a movie introduction, a title, you know, like Superman, Batman, I don't know, the title, you know, Avengers, X-Men, all of this is graffiti, man. It's a font, it's calligraphy, it's letters, it's 3Ds, it's shines, it's everything that incorporates the same thing we're doing. So many of the people that are doing this are transcending to doing stuff like that, or making clothing and making designs, and like you have to make, you know, it's not all bombing, it's not all bad, you know. That's the thing that I think that graffiti writers get a very bad rep, that you think maybe they're, you know, all gangsters full of chains, you know, you know, big bad guys, maybe black even, you know what I mean? But it's not like that, man, you know. It's not like that. Most of the graffiti guys are probably geeks.
Okay.
You know, and they just love comics and they love this stuff, and or they find a new world that, you know, connects and appreciates them. We all need to find our own place. And maybe they didn't find it until they found graffiti. It's a strange world.
Yeah. So Last Radical Souls, that's your crew, and you basically try to have a name. Is there any competing, or do you compete with other crews?
All the time.
Tell me about it.
All the time, man. Graffiti is a competition. There's strange rules and strange laws. I know the original rules and laws, but they've changed over time, and I think it depends on what city you go to. In my city, you know, when I originated, we were brought the old hip hop. Like I said, you know, Thorn, Bossy, all these guys, they were amazing at bringing the original culture straight from the book. You know, the temple of hip hop. While what other guys are doing is they made their own laws in their own cities, in a sense. So it's kind of hard to explain, like, you know. But you have problems and beefs all the time because one guy goes over and, say for example, like a bump on the street, some guy paints next to your piece and paints over this. Hey, what are you doing bumping into my elbow, man? The fuck you? So I'm gonna fuck your whole graffiti up because you just touched mine. You know, or you came too close. You should measure yourself better, find a better spot, or what are you doing this? Or if you go over me and you don't clean the whole part out, you're just going over it, but you can still see that I was there before. That's very disrespectful in graffiti.
Okay.
You have to take it all out. Everything or nothing. That's the whole, and you have basically, it starts with a tag, is like a signature. Level 0 or 1 is signature, yeah? You do your tag, right? What's better than a tag is a throw up. A throw up is a hollow, it's a graffiti that's very bubbly, very fun, quirky, and easy to do, usually.
What's the bump, just for the terminology you just use here?
Bombing is illegal graffiti. You're just going out and you're bombing illegal graffiti on the street. It's just that. And the throw up is the easiest graffiti that you can do when you're bombing. So illegally painting with no permission, and you just, yeah. So each part of the graffiti itself has a law where it defeats itself. So, you know, the throw up with only chrome, silver, will be beaten by a full color. A full color will be defeated by a piece. A piece is a really worked, intricate, master graffiti. When you know that, oh, they put in time. That's that one. And, you know, that'll defeat that one. And again, only a better one than this one's supposed to go on top and defeat it. So that's technically the law. It has to be bigger, better, more colorful. That's where I came from. Legal walls, where I came from, that's it, they painted once. Only once.
Only once.
And it's stayed there 20 years. If you touch that wall, that guy from 20 years ago will try to look for you. 20 years later, he will still come out of the fucking underground and look for you.
That's mad.
Because they're like, what are you doing? You can't be taking that out. That's been there for 20 years, man. You know what I mean? Like, what? And then he starts painting again. I know guys that were sleeping, man. For 10 years, they didn't paint. That's it. They were gone. Finished. They didn't care. And some guy painted over their shit and they were like, what? And they came back with a vengeance, you know? And they just put their name, that's it, they come back with a vengeance and they're back in the game because some guy dissed them. So beefs and fights are all massive. You know what the funniest one with us, I must say, is that my crew, the LRS, was probably battled against the crew that taught us hard funk. Hard funk. Our masters, Choco, BJ, Hard Funk, were the ones that somehow ended up battling us.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's because, you know, in a funny way, we started painting more and more and getting bigger and bigger. And I guess, you know, you get tired when you're older. I know it's fucking feeling. But what happened with them then is we painted over a spot they were looking at. But we got there first. And they got pissed off and they were like, what are you guys doing? That's our spot, man, that's our spot. And we were like, well, your name wasn't there, man, so you can't say anything about that. Like, I know this shit, you know, and all this shit. And eventually you have to go to war, man. But because there's much love and respect, you know, at that stage we found a truce. But war and graffiti is happening everywhere. All the time.
So it's an everyday thing, like you like competing, you have a like war with each other. It's kind of like a reminds me
It
like a
does.
graffiti game, like you know,
Yes, it is.
and it's associated with the hip hop culture as well. That's
Very
what I
much.
was told by
Yeah,
you.
graffiti and is one of the five elements of hip hop and one of the very important ones from my perspective, like because it's one of the more underground ones that didn't sell out. You know, as easy as say MCing, you know, is the most popular and sold out. DJs, you know, I don't know where they went. Dancers disappeared. You know, like the whole community of hip hop, from what I know, is a different story from what you see commercially. You know, yeah, but I think graffiti is one of the most raw, original, and still connected to the beginning of hip hop because it never really fully sold out.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. No graffiti guys. 3 graffiti guys made maybe 1 million. I don't know. Maybe not even 1 million. Maybe they survive. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody else in hip hop is throwing bread around the place like it means nothing, you know? But they didn't fucking feed the graffiti guys.
Yeah. I don't really know any famous graffiti artists. Do you know some?
Yeah.
You give us some names?
Plenty, man. From America, like you'd have Cope 2, Scene. You know, they made real good scenes, like those galleries, those tattoos, these conventions. But I don't think that he's like made a fortune. Just people love his stuff, you know, and he works hard. And the same, Cope 2. It's like, man, these guys did so much in the beginning when it comes to illegal vandalism, you know, murals that nobody cared about that wall. It's not like it was legal, they just painted it. They did so much of that pre-work that, you know, they were the foundation, they're the godfathers.
Yeah.
So, and every country might have one or two. We're lucky that, say, in my town, Pant One man is a guy from my town, and I think he's one of the only graffiti guys that made money, but he doesn't use graffiti as the money making.
Okay.
Graffiti is his passion, and it's what it taught him to go to the studios and make money from galleries or however he's doing it. But this guy grew up in our town, in our school, man, and we used to look up to him. He just painted maybe a year, maybe 2 years, you know, before me. So we used to bring, you know, my brother always used to come out in the recession in class in the playground and used to bring his sketches to Pan and just like, oh, you know, to get a gauge of, is this good, is this bad, what can I change, you know? And yeah, that's my brother Pufo One, man, and we all learned from each other at that time, just manually, and I think it's the best times, man. No Instagram, no internet, but this guy Pant, somehow, he rocked it.
Somehow make it like.
And you would never, like there was other guys that maybe you thought were better. More of this, more of that. The king of my town, Shone, X1, I don't think that he wants to be known, to be honest. You know? He doesn't do the art. He just paints his graph. He's doing it for 45 years, whatever he's doing it, man. And that's it. You know, he doesn't have that other thing. I think that, like I said, not even Pant is doing graffiti for money.
I see. And that element like of to be unknown, nobody know who are you. Is that really important? That's really like the hype, the adrenaline. That's one of the foundations. That's what it makes you to do it.
Yes, from always, it's like, you know, no face, no case. You know this one. I think I'd like to have longevity, man. You know, I'm already painting this long. If tomorrow I want to wake up and, you know, travel and paint a train or travel and do this or do that or paint something illegal, I don't want to worry that, oh, this guy's done this or this guy's done that. You know, I don't really care. It's not about me, it's about my graffiti, man. You know, it's what's on the wall. That's it. It's the gift I leave behind. I don't really.
And you are basically European crew. Your base is basically. You didn't mention any specific like country in Europe.
No,
you just say you're all around the Europe mostly.
Yeah. There's no base. There's no like you know, say for example, we started in 2001 LRS, right? LRS crew. Maybe the foundation was in Alicante, in Spain. But as it grows, maybe the boss was, you know, founding fathers. But I think that right now it runs itself, man.
It runs itself.
It runs itself. It's the people are doing their own things, and their own jobs, and communicating and finding their own ways. The leaders, most of them are gone. The guys who created, the founders, most of them are gone. You know, and yeah, the same in each city. You might have somebody who's the longest running guy.
That's how it works. And how do you recruit new members?
That's what I'm saying. So the longest guy is possibly the one, and maybe not just the longest, but wisest in a sense. You know, it has to have some sort of cop on. Can be running the thing, but none of us have that. Oh, we're the fucking boss. You know, it's just like bring in people that you know is good people. We brought in bad people over time. We brought in everything. You know, life is life. But over the years, and now we just solely focus on it has to be brothers and friends from our brothers and friends, because otherwise, you know, I think you mentioned it as well, and another one is, what about somebody coming in, or the police, or what you call it?
Yeah, what if somebody's undercover cop, like?
I don't know. We've been paranoid for years. We try to figure out things, but that's one of the things, is hopefully if they know each other, you know, that's not the case, you know?
So that's a big problem if somebody's undercover cop, because like you, for example, some member of your crew make like a damage, like in maybe 300,000 euros ish.
There's guys that have done everything. Yeah. Like I would say, man, you know, right now, you know, and if I may say, you know, like some of the strongest guys, they're not even here with us, you know. Say, for example, rest in peace, Ilos. You know, Ilos was one of the hardest bombers in Granada in the south of Spain, you know. Well, he passed away. So, you know, but this guy probably has like 230,000 worth of, you know, jobs done, you know.
Yeah.
And his name is still there, but he passed away. We lost recently Set One. He's gone, man. He died of, you know, just recently of cancer in the UK, man. You know, and these are family people as well. So it's not just like you think, oh, is some guy. They're family people, you know. People have gone to prison. We lost another guy as well, really recent. He was more in the beginning of the times than he is of the later of the times. Dennis, and rest in peace, Dennis, man. He just recently died in prison, bro.
That's
in prison. He died in prison just maybe a few weeks ago. And, you know, that's that. And I think that life is life, and we don't know when it's the end. We don't know when we're going to get caught. We don't know when the police are going to appear, if somebody's going to be undercover, or if it's going to be our next best friend, you know? We do the best that we can to keep precautions, but life is fucking life, man. And if you get caught, look, man, all we're doing is doing a bit of paint, man. Look at the real crimes in the world. Look at the real wars. Look at the real selling. Look at the real bombings. Look at the real fucking everything, you know? You can just paint the wall again, spray it off, clean the fucking train. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, again, for me, it's always like, hey, you live in a village? I'm not going to paint my name. Because you know why? I love village. It's there. It's beautiful. It's little tiny. It's quirky. There's no big advertising. Cities get graffitis. Simple as. You want to invade all the space with advertising and bullshit, we'll push back with some of it of our own, man. Because at the end of the day, that's what it was. And it still has that little feeling, you know, like you call it a little light or a little black dot inside you, that it doesn't matter how long it's been. And I look around and I go, I still feel like I need to do this. I need to put my name up on a wall, man.
Who are the pioneers? Like, if you can pinpoint like a place in Europe, when it started, like in Europe, where, like which country or city? Can you pinpoint like?
I think it started all over at the same sort of time-ish, you know, like with the American army guys kind of coming into bases, you know, around Europe. I think that's how the influence started kicking in. I know in Germany, so much amazing work. France is amazing, and Spain was amazing. I think those three countries were probably the pioneers when it came to it. Germany has Cantu and some amazing people from the old dime, man, some serious pioneers that didn't exist. What they were doing didn't exist in America. So what these guys did in Germany was just like, you know, mind blowing. I know that the Spanish, you know, it took their time as well, but they took the hardcore bombing side and break dancing and the cultural side. I think the Germans always more technical. The French, man, French is good shit as well.
So if each like country have their own kind of like a unique style of a graffiti.
In a way, yes.
Okay. What's will you describe more about the styles?
Like, you know, if you go to Poland, yeah, or Eastern European, you see more like the old school styles, very old school American style, you know, very, a lot of the letters can be kind of very straightish with, you know, like their little decorations on the sides, very usually readable, but usually quite straight and narrow. It's very old style. I think the Spanish man went into everything and came up with styles that didn't exist, very much more like 3D, cartoony kind of stuff. And just those throw-ups that we developed over there in Spain, man, like the bombing was just an incredible scene. And people were trying to come up with their own thing. But Germany, man, I think Germany is the ones that really made the spray can look like real art. You know, like you were like, wow, this stuff is real.
Honestly, when I come sometimes and I come around some spray painting, yeah, it's kind of looks like a fresco, like a piece of. In some cases, like I see Madonna, yeah, like spray. How you call Mary? They call it Mary, like nice spray everything, which is like damn. And the amount of hours, how much, for example, it could take you to spray something big. Let's go back to the big painting. How long do you did it?
One night. This the big one that we did.
Yeah.
7 hours, I'd say.
7 hours.
Yeah, I'd say we started around 2-3 in the morning, and we left around 8 in the morning.
Okay, that's a couple hours.
Like we hit it up. Most of my graffiti is maybe 5 hours, 8 hours to the best, you know, and that's like a mural. And if I take 2 days, 2 days is when I'm really either getting paid or I'm really trying to do something that is progressing me. You know, like I can rock up there and it's like, you know, boom, I can freestyle. I never bring paper. I did my sketches always and I never bring my paper. I want to do it straight from my head. I don't want to criticize myself. I don't want to copy something else. I want it to always flow from me, my mind, my body in that time. If I'm shaky, I'm shaky. If I'm strong, I'm strong. And that day I paint like that. You never walk away, you know, always like, oh, satisfied. Even a master will always say, oh, I could have done that, I could have this, I needed a color here. That's the other thing is, you know, you only have so much that you can bring of colors at the time because it's very heavy, but also very space consuming and very loud. So you can only bring so much, and yeah, 2 days maybe my maximum work. I don't think I've ever taken longer than 2 days. And 2 days is when I'm trying to get my best.
How many active members are in Ireland?
In Ireland, I'd say we have maybe 5 or 6 active members at the moment. 1 or 2 left, and a few are coming. And Ireland is quiet. It's a small island, you know. The scene is very small, and I think that everybody's already got their family. And usually they grow up with their family, so it's hard to come to to Ireland and bring something that they don't know that they want to join in. So it's taking time, you know. Everybody's got their clan here.
Yes.
You know. While in Spain, I guess we are expanding always, and yeah. But if there's anybody new that wants to give us a shout, man, you know, we'll be around. We'll be around.
You recruiting, so
Always, man. Always. Yeah, we have here, man. We have Coase. Coase is like a legend in Ireland, man. One of the I think most unique styles I've seen in anywhere, and he does something that, you know, is breaking the rules, bro, man.
Yeah. And Coast, which county is he? I'm not gonna ask
Coast,
for more details.
Yeah, no, these guys.
Willing.
He's in Dublin, man. We have all you know, the major cities in town in Ireland is covered, you know. And when we can, we get together and we do painting. But maybe we're not as active as some of the other bigger crews in Dublin, you know. These Dublin kids, man, are some city rats, you know.
Yeah. I know.
And like when you're not from that city, it takes you know, like when you're going there just for one night, you can't do what the guys that live there do, you know.
I see.
So I go there to paint, meet up, have a beer, have a chat with the lads. Last time we went to Northern Ireland, man, to the Peace Wall in Northern Ireland. You know the Peace Wall?
Yeah. That's in Belfast, correct?
Yeah, in Belfast, man. And we rocked up there and we painted on the Peace Wall, man. And it was just such a fucking good thing to see, like, people like Cohn, I met him there, and some other Irish legends that, again, you know, they're mixed between bombing and fucking incredible artists, you know.
I see many graffiti about Irish, like from Irish history.
Oh yes,
like,
the northern stuff.
Yeah,
Murals,
the northern stuff. Like, look, some.
Unreal.
Yeah. They are illegal graffitis, or they are legal.
I don't know about them. These ones are political murals.
They are
representing, you know, families and history of Ireland, related to the Irish Republican Army, I think most of them, or the other side, you know. Of course, we're going to be in the south, but I think, this is like Bobby Sands, man. It's memorials, you know, of people who fought for this country, you know, top to bottom, you know,
can you
with no separation, you know.
Can you get in problem for political bombing?
I guess you could. I don't do political, like, I take everybody as they are, man.
I'm just talking reference to...
You could, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're doing something that's very in the now, you know? Like, you could go out there and say, remember, like a couple of months, fuck Leo Varadkar. If you went out there in Ireland, or you could go and paint fuck Trump. I don't know if you have the right to do this, but there's even more political stuff. Say, for example, I know of police that beat up people. How about painting their name and the story of who they beat and how they beat it on the wall to show it to all? The amount of corrupt guards around the place that beat people up that never said anything about it, you know.
And when do you know the stories about the corrupt guards?
Because the streets speak to the streets, you know. The pool has water. It all goes up then, you know.
Yes.
Like what you get to read on the newspaper has been on the street for a while. So these things are people say, oh man, this is what happened to me in this place, blah, blah, blah. You know, I know guys in my town, especially when we were young, man, fucking hell, in our town it was hilarious. You would get a slap from the Guardia Civil. Yeah, they would beat you, but they would also spray you on the back. Yeah, they literally sprayed you.
It's like a kind of some form of punishment?
It was like, look, I'm not going to do the paperwork. You're not 18 yet, you know, and we're going to try to teach you. You want to paint walls? Paint you. Now go back to your mom's house, you know. This is the old days in Spain. Imagine what happens after, you know, battens, and they can then take you into prison and stuff like that. But once you're inside, nobody needs to know what happens. And this is maybe it's better today as much as it goes along, but, you know, throughout the years, fuck, man.
Matt.
Yeah, throughout the years, lots of stuff, you know.
What do you think is the future of your crew? When do you think this is going?
Well, for what I wish for my crew, man, is to keep expanding, to keep staying together, to everybody feel like they're also a leader, you know, because if that's how you can, be infinite. If everybody is a true leader, you will be infinite. I think right now we're trying to play some of the YouTube game and the Instagram game and trying to rock up some videos. I don't know how long we're going to do this for, because it's a dangerous game. It's a stupid game to throw yourself up on film on YouTube for everybody to see what you just did when, it gives you a little chance to play, I guess, to catch cat and mouse kind of games.
That basically mouse and cats.
Yeah.
Is that thing what
No,
basically?
some people have it, some people don't. But right now, I think that in this generation of things, and with so much passion about like other arts that come in, whether it's music, film, or beyond, to have other people see what we're doing, say, I'm having a lot of fun with my GoPro. Yeah. So when I go out and I take a picture of my graffiti, you don't know nothing. You see that graffiti, you'll never see it in real life. I feel sad. I feel sad because I think that it should be, like the old days. But when I go out with my GoPro, you can feel the wind. You can see the rain. You can see me hopping walls. You can see the dangers, the no dangers. You can see if things, you can hear my breath. You can hear the conditions sometimes. Or I could put a music to it and make it more fun or aggressive. I think that is fun for me right now, but it's better than a picture, you know?
And this is where this is how most of your members operate in this kind of method.
No. Most people just throwing pictures up. There's maybe a Buffo, me, few other people are doing videos. But yeah, everybody's throwing up videos on social media. That's the fucking crazy thing is, and especially now with everything so simple, like drones, you could buy a drone and get a beautiful shot for 800 euros, that used to cost a helicopter price,
Yeah. Now you can get like a cheap drone maybe for 300 euro.
Man, I should
400.
show you some of the stuff that was happening in LA with the buildings. Did you see the 2 buildings in LA that were abandoned for a few years, and then the 2 towers, and they started painting them?
Really?
Oh man, the
I didn't
whole
see
2
that.
towers got painted top to bottom, and everybody was trying to find out, was the news was on this, there was helicopters flying around, there was police all around barricading, and there was still guys going up to paint, hanging off the side of a window, man.
Do you know the crew?
Rams was there, MSK. No, I don't know anybody I have never been in the US, so I know who they are by, we follow.
Because
we're following the game, but
you know the game.
yeah, hopefully one day if they want to jump over on this side, man, and we have a chance of meeting. But these guys, I think again, what we're talking, you need to be trusted to be trusted to be trusted.
And that's basically how you will, by basically doing the stuff where you're doing the vandalism, you're getting more trust in the game and you're climbing the ladder higher.
You're getting that trust, yeah, in the game of bombing, yes, that's for sure, yes. So then you have a chance of other bombers maybe coming in or something, but it's not necessarily that. It's just what I was saying is like maybe people like me wouldn't, them people wouldn't be interested in coming here unless I gave them something special, I guess, yeah. But we just do our own thing, man. Most of the time I even paint on my own,
Yeah.
That's...
Are you planning to do some painting in the near future?
Yeah.
Like with your crew?
Always. This year, I don't know what we're doing. There's jams in Holland, man. There's a few jams in Holland and London. We got the tunnel that Banksy inaugurated, Leek Street. We do a few jams in there sometimes. Barcelona, Madrid. But like right now, I don't know. I think there's going to be a documentary maybe soon coming out with some stuff. And that's it. Just keep it up, man. Keep painting. And I'm excited about just keep putting stuff up on YouTube and yeah.
Where I can see, we slowly gonna finish. I can see that. But where you wanna promote your YouTube here? It's an option for you.
Yeah. You can find me as Paddy1, PADIWON. And my crew is just LRS Crew, is the same. And you see them both on YouTube. Yeah, man, hit subscribe and follow up there and see what you think, This stuff that I'm throwing up there is just for fun. It's not even my best work most of the time. It's just boom, 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 rocking it out. But I'll have something for the summer where I'm just going to start doing more dedicated artwork. Because as it gets warmer, the days get longer, I can paint for longer, and it's not freezing. But you know, if you stand there with a spray can in the winter and you shake that can, it's freezing, man, on your hand. Yeah, and then you just want to go do quick stuff, you know. So the summer is the time. But yeah,
And when and where we can see your documentary? If you want to promote that somewhere, I'm not sure if it's safe to promote it. I don't know anything about that, so it's your call.
yeah, I don't know when that documentary is probably going to come out with the producer who's called Vida Visions, and he's doing the documentary, so it's all up to him. And yeah, so he shot some film and he's got all the stuff that we sent him, so he has to put that together, and yeah, things pop out once in a while, and then we'll eventually put them in our channel on Instagram and the rest.
Yeah. And that documentary is gonna be shot in Ireland, or you're gonna travel?
It's already shot, yeah.
It's already shot.
Yeah, it's already shot. It was shot some interviews, man, and video all over Europe. Yeah, it's all the shoots, because he's been filming, Vision Films has been filming LRS Crew for a while now, and I think that he was just excited that he got enough of little bits and pieces to try to bring a little kind of like short documentary out. Yeah.
Well, okay, I think we're gonna finish. You wanna give your name to our audiences and your name of a crew?
Paddy One, man, LRS Crew. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have a chance of watching some graffiti stuff yourself. Check us out at the LRS. And if you want to find out more about graffiti, probably watch some movies like Wild Style. And yeah, man. Just want to say, last one, rest in peace to Seth, who just passed away this recent, and Dennis as well, man. We're gonna miss these, and yeah, moving forward, just keep on growing and get to see our name everywhere you go.
Okay, so that was Simon and Petty One. See you next time.
Peace.
Yep.
Get me rid of the glasses coming off.